Hey, how you doing? Adam here. The date is currently 11/16/2017. Didn't make a journal. Oh, this has to be louder. Hold on. I don't know why it's actually as low as it is, but oh, whatever. Yeah, I did make a journal yesterday because I don't even know. I was in fucking just like internet argument mode, and like how you get into a trance when that happens, and um, just time kind of goes by, but. Yeah, I made a journal a couple days ago before that where I was talking about how Frank Zappa, I feel like he's more of a critic than an artist. I took that journal down because just I felt like I didn't say exactly what I meant in that, and how it could be interpreted in a way that I didn't mean it. And I feel like that might be a subject for like a full video on the Moonside Musings thing. I love Frank Zappa. I think I should make that clear. And the first thing I said on that journal was I don't like Frank Zappa, but it's one of those things where you're just trying to be like intentionally provocative. And that's not what I meant. I absolutely love Frank Zappa. And just his whole attitude. But what I was saying there was that I think he's more of a critic than he is an artist. Like, he's rightly making fun of, like, stupid things in music by making parodies of it. And, it's that he was so ahead of his time on the sarcastic, like, asshole thing. And, that cannot be discounted ever. Like, that is a amazing contribution to music. But what I think I was saying there was that Frank Zappa, he's just more of an artist, or he's more of a critic than he is an artist. And I was saying the same thing for Ariel Pink. I love both of those people, but just it's what they're doing. I feel is like it's fundamentally different from what the like the Beatles were doing, which is just, there's this separation in my head of like vulnerability and then like critique of the vulnerability. It's like it's the difference between masculine and feminine, because the masculine is like it's an attacking sort of thing. It's like you're putting yourself out there, and then the feminine is sort of like judging it and molding it. So oh, you think you got it down, don't you? Well, how about this, and go try again, asshole. That sort of thing. And I feel like what the Beatles are doing is the masculine thing of like putting themselves out there. And, what Ariel Pink and what Frank Zappa are doing is sort of the feminine, like, oh, you think you got it, do you? Yeah, how about this, asshole? Fucking get it right. And both of those things, you need both of those things to, progress. But, it's the artist and the critic interaction right there is what I think is what's going on. So, that feels like a whole video on Moonside Musings, so I'll do that at some point. Yeah, so what else did I do? I came down here and I recorded a little thing, because it's been really just on my mind, like bugging me. Well, I don't know if it's bugged. I was trying to say, it's been on my mind lately to record something that I wrote it down even. I wrote down this thing on a notepad document. It says, I want to... ... That's the name of the file. And then you open the file and it says, I want to make a nautical dream. Boy finds girl, gets swept up in her hair. Turns out they're all dead. And I don't know what that meant. Well, I do know sort of. It's just, like a feeling. But then I thought of the words quantum Debussy. Because just for some reason, I think this was like 2 weeks ago, maybe like a week and a half ago. I was obsessed with Art Nouveau, and there's this picture of this staircase with like Art Nouveau on it. It's like kind of sort of spiraling, and it looks like a girl's hair, so like sort of luring you up these steps into the light, and just something about it just really struck my imagination, and. I came down here today, because that's been on my mind for like 2 weeks, and I came down here today, and I made like a little recording that I felt like was inspired by this picture here. So, because I was saying it on other journals, I feel like rock is at a moment here where it's, that you can go one of two ways. You can grow up, or you can keep like just going after the superficial bullshit. Because I feel like, and I wrote down this all in the script for the video, for the Rock Sucks video, and now how it can be better. Rock is at a moment where, because rock, when the Beatles came out, that was sort of like the puberty of rock. You know, it's sort of like it was a coming of age thing for rock, where it's like everything just like, it's like the very end of A Day in the Life. You know how that sort of thing where it's like, you know, it's iffy at first or not iffy, but you know how it all just comes together in that one sort of orgasmic moment where it's like, and then it's just long resonation. Well, that sound is sort of just like, that sound is just, it's a microcosm of the Beatles, and really, I mean, rock in general. And it's a microcosm of, like, you know, a coming of age tale, or just, you know, puberty, that sort of thing. It's like, you know, you hit this boom, you go straight up, and then it's a long resonating sort of downward climb. Exactly like how testosterone levels, they rise really quickly, and then it's a slow, gradual decline. Because you know how in the end of that song, it's you know, it's just like, it gets to that moment, and then bong, and then it fades. It's like and it does that for like a minute. Well, see, the thing is, that also is a microcosm not only of the Beatles' career, but of rock music in general. And the thing is that we're at the very end of that resonating sound, and there's no more, you know, there's no more fucking sound. So, you know, it's time to figure out, because it's over. That iteration of rock, it's over. And so it's time to fucking wave goodbye to the fucking sunset. This is that metaphor I had in my head when I was going through that Marfan thing. It's time to turn around from that setting sun, wave goodbye, turn around into the darkness, and then walk toward the rising sun. You know, brave the night. It's time to brave the night, because that iteration of rock is over, and it's time to move on. It's time to grow up. It's time for the next one, where it's going to be more nuanced, more grown up, you know. And I think one of the big things that rock has to let go of is kind of like this boyish bravado, where it's like, you know, it's this fake puffing yourself up, like, you know, it's so annoying, and I don't think anybody likes it anymore. And it's not in it. We're not in an age anymore, I don't think, where you can get away with that sort of thing. So I think it's time to shed that. And I don't know. I'm just really obsessed with Art Nouveau, and I feel just instinctually somehow I feel like that's somehow related to it. But I'll do more on the video, because I wrote actually that Beatles thing. I didn't, you know, the end of the Day in a Life. I didn't put that. I'll put that in the video because I think that's a good analogy. Yeah, but other than that, yeah, it was a little dizzy yesterday and today. I think it's because I ate some peanut butter and that had some like artificial ingredients or whatever in it. And maybe I'm like reacting to that. I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah. So I'm happy actually with what I got done today musically. I feel like what I got done is almost exactly what I had in my head. And it's you know, it's sometimes it's hard to do that because it's like there's so much distracting bullshit, and sometimes it's hard to like absolutely nail what's in your head. And I feel like I did that today, so I'm happy about that. Yeah, so we got a minute left. Yeah, so yeah, just fucking rock's got to shed the you know, young guy bravado thing. That's got to be moved on from, because it doesn't. It's because, you know, the problem with rock is that you have that one big album, you have a very early peak, and then it's all downhill from there. And you know, that's not going to work anymore. There needs to be a way to figure out how to keep. Maybe you sacrifice the early bang for the slow rise, and then just fucking slow burn forever. I think that's probably a better strategy. It's the sacrifice. Well, I mean, it's the Jordan Peterson thing. It's the sacrificing the now for the future. So I think that's what rock has to start doing. Just, you know, that fractally applies to rock. And I know that sounds pretentious or whatever, but it's the same thing that's going on culturally with Western culture right now. Is there's Jordan Peterson. I cannot believe how much he nailed exactly what's going on, and it's going on with rock and roll too. And I think just if you apply that sort of philosophy to rock and roll, because I mean, the Bible, in the way that Jordan Peterson talks about it, it's sort of like this surviving book from way back that's still somehow relevant to today. And you can think of classical music and like romantic music in the same way that you can think of like the Bible, like it's music from way back that got something right, and it's something right still survives today, and you can learn from what they got right and just apply it. Because I mean, I've always really just loved classical music, like romantic music and stuff, and maybe I was on to something. So. Yeah, so, all right, 11 minutes. Too much time. Goodbye.